Good morning, everybody. Welcome back. As it turns out, today I'm going to be doing something with my daughter. So many of you, especially at 6 o'clock. So those of you who are supposed to be live streamed at that time, as it turns out, you're going to watch this. All right. I'm glad to be back. I've had a great time. It's weird not seeing you all. Someone made a suggestion yesterday that I try to use Blackboard Collaborate. I was up until 2 in the morning trying to figure that out. Man, I couldn't do it. So I'll keep doing this until I figure that out, and we'll go from there. I'm hoping to see a whole lot of participation today because things are going to be moving fluidly. Good morning, good morning. Isa, hi. Sarah, good morning. So we're going to do some things that are going to be attempted to be interactive as much as I can do it. Mariana, Angelica, hello, hello. So we'll go ahead and start there. I'll give people a little bit more time just to come in. I'm actually going to use notes. Andrea, good morning. Kayla, Raul, welcome, welcome. I understand that some of you have actually signed up to my page. Emily, Laura, I just want to say thank you for signing up on Hope Works. I'm all kinds of problems today trying to get everything situated there. That's better. I didn't sleep much last night. I only slept for about an hour, and so I might be a little bit shaky. However, it's another beautiful day. It's another beautiful day. All right, it looks like we have enough people to go ahead and get started. Okay, reconnection successful. Sorry about that. I can't control the technology. Wi-Fi's been really bad here lately. So anyhow, we have to start at square one, right? And square one is, what is it to be a human being? That's the question I'm going to ask. And what I want each of you to do is, especially since I have everyone's name up here, I like this. All right. Ashley Blandon, what is your favorite number? What's your favorite number? I'll give you my favorite number. My favorite number is 8. All right. So listen to your name, and when I call your name, what I want you to do is I want you to write something down for me. All right. I think I'm missing some of you. How'd that happen? I should be able to scroll up, right? Anyhow, Isabella, I want you to look up what it is to be a human being from a psychological perspective. Sarah, I want you to look up what it is to be a human being from a psychological perspective. Mariana, what is it to be a human being from a historical perspective? Angelica, what is it to be a human being from a sociological perspective? Raul, what is it like to be a human being from a biological perspective? Kayla, you're going to love this one. You're going to be mad at me. Kayla, what is it to be a human being from a physics perspective? Andrea, what is it like to be a human being if we come in from a geographical perspective? Emily, what is it to be a human being coming in from a dance perspective? Laura, what is it to be a human? Some of you are going to get off the hook because I can't scroll back up. Laura, what is it to be a human being from a communications perspective? Rosa, what is it like to be a human being from a astrological perspective? And Ashley, good morning. What is it to be a human being from a biological perspective? Now here's what I want you to do. This is going to sound ridiculous, but I'm going to give you 2 minutes, 3 minutes. And what I want you to do is I want you to call person number 8 on your phone, whoever that 8th person was, and I want you to ask them that question. All right? What is it to be a human being from a physics perspective, from a psychological perspective, etc.? And then after you ask them that, ask them from that perspective, what role does crime play? Okay, because I'm going to be a little bit more criminological today. I'm just kind of in a crime kind of mood. I'm working on that book. I have 18 days to write it. I don't know if I can pull it off, but I'll try. All right. So what is it to be a human being from that perspective? How does that impact crime? Right? What is the psychological perspective on crime? Economic, dance, what have you. And then I want you to come back with what is it being human, or how does that affect our solutions to crime? So if it's psychological, then we have to fix the person, right? We have to fix the way they think about things. So go ahead and do that. Just make a real quick phone call to the 8th person on your phone, and okay, you don't have to call an ex. If you happen to pull up an ex, it's okay not to call them or what have you. But go ahead and call them up, and if you can't get a hold of anybody, I just want you to answer that question, all right? And when you answer that question, I want you to think in terms of, and I can't do a chart, I've been doing those charts on videos. I want you to think about what is it to be a human being from that perspective. Are you doing it? Because what I'm going to do is I'm going to write a little chart here, and I'm going to show you here in just a second. So much better live. I'll be interacting with you, we'll be playing and stuff, all kinds of stuff. Geez, I didn't even give anyone economics, did I? Would someone look up economics, what it is to be a human being from an economics perspective? And I'll be done real quick. All right. Should have done this before. I hadn't thought about it until we were doing this. Okay. Did you all call somebody? Or did you write down on a piece of paper what it is to be a human being from those different perspectives? I hope so. We have 19 people in here, that's right. What I'm going to show you here is a little diagram, all right? And this diagram is really to show us that, you know, these different perspectives really are interconnected, all right? I don't have a chalkboard, I don't have time to make this video, but I'm going to show you this so that we can see what we are as a human being. If you notice, I start with history and I start with physics. History and physics are the two underlying forces that define human beings at any given period of time. Right? So when we take a look at history, history provides us with a context in which we interact. We're in the most unique historical period in human history. Right? What we're experiencing now it's unprecedented, and what's coming later is going to be even more interesting, especially for your generation. Physics is basically taking a look at how do we transform energy into usable human form, right? So everything has to do with energy and the transformation into human, physical human form. Then we look at this. We see society, culture, economics. Those are all what? Institutions. Society is a stable cluster of social institutions designed to meet a basic human need. A culture is a belief, a way of life, a belief system. Economics is a way of distributing goods and services. But then down here, more on the individual level, we'd have biology and psychology. All of these work together to create us, which is our human nature. Emerging from our human nature is human behavior. And when we look at things like dance, language, and art, what we're really looking at is human expression. So all these things, you know, when we take a look at perspective, I remember when I was at Ohio State in graduate school, we used to have, like, not fist fights, but we used to have some deep, wholehearted arguments over whether or not psychology was better than sociology or sociology was better than psychology. And really all it comes down to this, right? Sociology is looking at those forces that shape you, right? It's a systematic study of human behavior. External forces affect who the human is, right? And it gets really complicated. Psychology is taking a look at what's inside here and affects you out this way. So we used to argue which perspective was better, as if somehow that really made a difference. And what I've learned is it doesn't make a difference. You can't be a psychological being without a historical context, right? Your emotions, you think you own your emotions, you're going to see here in just a little bit when we do the who am I and the I am a and all those kind of exercises. I hope you have paper because we're going to do this. And it's going to come out later, right? Why do we have these differences of opinion? Sociology is every bit as important as chemistry. Chemistry is every bit as important as biology and psychology and anthropology, which is the study of culture, right? Because without culture, you're not you. So we have society working on this side, we have culture working on this side, and all these things work together to create us. And what I've learned is that, see, the perspective is called a paradigm. When you come from, for example, a sociological perspective, you have a paradigm of how you're looking at it. And a paradigm is just a dominant way of looking at the world. It's ideological. And the methods you use to look at the world, the data that you use to understand the world, all those things play out in the paradigm. Now I'm going to post a video for your class, and it's from Black History Month, when I did the keynote speech. And there's two terms in there. One is called ontological, and the other one is called epistemological. You can go look those up, right? But essentially, ontological questions are saying, what is real? Epistemological questions are saying, how do we know it's real, right? The thing I've learned over time is that a holistic approach to understanding the world is really important because we are interconnected through these different institutions. So now we're getting somewhere, right? What is it to be a human being? To be a human being depends on perspective. But we're at a point where the problem with ideology and common sense is that common sense and ideology, when they become regarded as paradigms, and it's the only way to see the world, that's where you start to see socially constructed boundaries. See, differences between us based upon race and ethnicity, based upon social class, based upon gender, they're all social constructions, right? We inherently have a body, but the meaning we give to the body is constructed, right? Because if you look back historically and culturally, the way in which the body is operated has changed over time, right? If you go back 200 years, okay, you go back 200 years, the average height of a male was something like, what is it, 5'2", 5'3", female is about 4'8", 4'9", and so now even our body type, we're taller, we're stronger. And why is it? Because there's hormones in our food system. Why? Because agribusiness is designed to create profits. Right? Okay. Does all that make sense? Let me see if you're here. I see there's 24 people watching. Does what I say so far make sense? I'm going to give you a little bit of time to go ahead and answer. Because we're about to roll, baby. We're about to do this up. I'm ready to make it happen today. Just wish I could stand and move around. Oh, I see. Technology, baby. Technology. It says here on my computer, unable to connect to chat. Please try again later. Beautiful. Alright, so here's what I'm going to do. While I talk to myself, and you're listening, I'm going to go through the steps, and I'm just going to trust that you're going to follow them. Okay? So let's go ahead and do that. And I'm going to have to figure this Wi-Fi stuff out, why it's not working the way it's supposed to. Okay. Yesterday I posted a little video, the Who Am I? We're going to start it like this. If you haven't already listed 25 Who Am I's, I am smart, I am this, I am that, I am, 5'10", whatever it is. List out 25 things I am. All right, go ahead and do that. Then I'm going to just take a couple seconds here. As a matter of fact, I'm going to go ahead and turn on some music for your entertainment while you're doing that. Great people. Okay, we're reconnected. I'm sorry about the technical difficulties. I live in the biggest house I've ever lived in. As it turns out, the router is way over on the other side of the house, and it doesn't reach my apartment over here, so that's okay. Alright. Now, wherever you are, go ahead and stop with I am. You should better come up with about 25, right? Now, the next one this is a little bit harder. The next one is I am a. So you're going to fill in I am a blank. Fill in, since we're having technical difficulties. No data again? Ah, brother. List 5 of them. Just list 5. I'm going to assume that you're doing it. That's all I can do. And I see that there's all kinds of difficulties today. I get a little frustrated with the technology stuff. But if we're in a live room, I'd be writing on the board, we'd be getting this stuff covered, we'd be getting it done. Alright, it says I see everyone's dropping out. Oh, brother. I'm going back in. Okay. It's giving me a message. Let me see what this message is. Okay, so your experience buffering. Alright. I hope you listed your 5. Now what I want you to do is I want you to put an asterisk next to the one that is most important to you. For example, for me, I always put down father. Right? Because the most important role that I play is that of a father. Right? Now what I want you to do, and you can't do this, but you can do it inherently. And I just want to ask you this question. How many of you listed as one of your I ams? I'm smart, I'm funny, I'm mean, whatever you put down. How many of you put down that you're great? How many put down that word, I am great? Right? Because I mentioned the other day in our first day of class that you are great. There's greatness inside of you. My job is to try to help you find it. Right? So in working this class to help you find your greatness, you have to see that you are great. And you know better than I do whether or not you see greatness or not. Right? So, did you list that? If you didn't list it, and this is going to be very awkward, if you didn't list it, then what I'd like you to do is sometime today, go in the bathroom and look in the mirror, and honestly look yourself in the eye and say, Ashley, you are great. Rosa, you are great. Laura, you are great. Emily, you are great. Down the list, I am great. Right? And then, like we said the other day, I love you, I like you, and you are worthy of your dreams. Right? So, do that. You got to practice that. Because it's kind of like the law of attraction. If you find your vibration, you've heard of the word the flow. You find your flow. There's a human freak vibration. And since we're all comprised of energy, because we are physics, I mean, our body's physics is the transformation of our energy. What we're doing is we're trying to find that frequency, the one that belongs to us, right? So the reason I talked about the other day why you have to build your team with people who believe in you, who edify you, who stand up for you, is simply because of the fact that if you don't build your team with people who believe in you, man, you're never going to find that greatness, right? So greatness is really important for you to believe in. You got to believe it. You're worthwhile when you don't even believe it yourself. So the first thing to go into psychology, psychologically build on that. All right. Now that's just my thing on great. Now in the Who Am I video that I posted on YouTube, you may have seen that it went from who am I, and I told you basically what I was looking for you to do. And then I had this diagram, correct? And at the top, it said economics, then it said politics, then it said education, then it said religion, may have said media. I didn't put them all in there. The software wouldn't let me put them all in there. Media, criminal justice. All those institutions are designed to help us meet basic human needs, right? So we have the basic human need to exchange goods and services to one another. Therefore, we have an economic institution, right? We have the need to raise children and to socialize them into our culture. So what do we have? A family institution. Education institution. How do we maintain and pass on knowledge in usable form to the next generation, right? Education institution. How do we determine our beliefs pertaining to the supernatural? Religion, right? So how do we distribute information to one another? The media. Everything in your life is mediated information. Everything in your life came from somewhere else, right? Whether it's a book, whether it's TV. Even if someone like myself, I'm telling you some things that I know, I'm a mediator for you to learn this information. So the media institution is definitely a part of our society. Now, if you were to draw an arrow or draw a box around those at the top, right, we would call that society. And you see the definition right there on the video on YouTube. If you were to draw a line from the institutions down to the box that says opportunity structure, right? Then a line down to social networks, and then a line down to small groups. Here's what you would find. At the small group level, your little asterisk is going to be there, right? Now, with that asterisk, God, I just have to trust that you're with me. I hope you are, because I keep seeing the buffering going on, and it's distracting for me. But let's say, for example, that person, that asterisk, I am for me, father, right? What I'd like for you to do is put down 3 emotions that you experience when you play the role of father, daughter, sister, mother. Whatever you put down is most important to you, right? For me, as a father, when I play the role of father, let me write that down. I want you to look that up. Role. Excuse me. When I play the role of father, I feel joy. I feel happiness. I feel concern, right? Those are very powerful emotions. Now, what's interesting is, and see, we like to think of ourselves as unique, correct? Well, if I go talk to other fathers, their emotion that they experience when they play that role is very similar to mine, right? Mothers, very similar. If you put down sister, and we get everybody in the room, everyone who virtually put down sister, here's what you would probably find. Their emotional response is similar to yours, right? If you put down son, similar to yours. You put down student, another person put down student, the emotions that you experience are very similar. So what's so interesting about the sociology of emotions is this, right? We like to think of ourselves as unique, but our response to our relationships is very similar. The things that upset us, the things that make us happy, they're very, very similar in fact. So when we're sitting here thinking that I have problems, right? We often experience those problems as ours. However, it is likely that other persons in the same situation are going to experience the problem in the same type of way. Okay? And here's why that's important. The reason that is important is we're always taught to be strong with our emotions, to be strong. We're always taught that we should be in control of them. And essentially, what we do is we forget that we're more similar than we are different. So just imagine. You flip on the TV, and every time you flip on the TV, the persons that are being shown as the criminal offender look like you, right? But every single time I turn on the TV and I see the person who's a lawyer, they don't look like me. Over time, that emotional response to that external, predictor, in this case media, shapes who we are, how we see the world. God, what's going on? I got itches all over the place. And then our emotional response is going to be similar. So what we've been taught is, for example, I'm going to write this down before I forget it too. All right. There are two perspectives on, for example, social class inequality. Right? One perspective is that, hey, everybody has access to the institutions. There's no excuse for you not to succeed. Everybody has the opportunity to go to school, right? Everybody can go to school. Everyone can study. Everyone can open a book. Everyone can do those things, right? Everyone can go to church. Everyone can read. Everyone, whatever, you keep going. It's called the fair share perspective, right? Well, that's all great. However, the fair share perspective falls a little bit short because, yeah, everyone has access to those institutions. We do, you do. But here's the difference. Let's say, for example, I am, Justin Fields, Ohio State Buckeyes, right? He's going to win the Heisman Trophy this year. Just count it. Trevor Lawrence for Clemson. I watched that game last year in the bowl game when they stole it from us. I saw the referee made a big mistake. Jordan Fuller carried that ball 4 times, fumbled it. We picked it up and ran for a touchdown, and they called the touchdown back. I'm still salty about that. Don't even get me going. But Trevor Lawrence and Justin Fields, in my opinion, are two of the best quarterbacks in college football. If you had to pick one or the other, you probably wouldn't lose much if you had one guy running your team and the other one running your team. You'd probably be just fine with either one, right? But let's say this, they're both fast, right? Let's say we put both of them at the 50-yard line. And we say, we want to see who's going to cross the finish line or get into the end zone first. And they start and they both run roughly 4, 6, 40. So they're running. And can you predict who's going to win that race? They're basically equal. They basically have the same skill set. So who is going to win? Trevor Lawrence or Justin Fields? I know Justin Fields is going to win, but come on, let's get real. But in any case, one of the best quarterbacks in the nation. So here's my point. Now let's say, for example, all right, that we put Justin Fields on the 50-yard line, but we put Trevor Lawrence on the 20-yard line, back by his own end zone. And we say, start. They both run a 4, 6, 40. Trevor Lawrence will never beat Justin Fields because he's starting 30 yards behind him on this field, right? If you have equal skills or equal capabilities, but you're starting 30 yards behind, how are you going to catch up? Are you serious? Go to school, do that. School is fine, but it's a lot more complicated than that because who I am, what I am is tied into broader components, right? That's called a fair play perspective. A fair play perspective is social inequality and social boundaries prevent people from having equal opportunity in the system. Fair share perspective basically is this notion that we all have equal access but to the American dream. That's really what it's for. We all have equal access to the American dream, but how hard are you going to work for it, right? It's really called a person-blame system, and here's what's so important for you to learn today is that person-blame systems raise yourself up by the bootstrap. This is your fault. You failed the test. If you'd have done this, you'd done this, you'd done this, you would have done better, right? Okay, so the fair share perspective blames the individual for their own failure. Yeah, you got to put in work. But come on, man. You mean to tell me that the single mother who's trying to raise her 2 or 3-year-old daughter, working full-time and going to school full-time, has the same kind of access to doing as well as someone who has college paid for by their parents, which is fine. I wish they had done it for me. I worked 4 jobs while I was in college, but that's okay. It strengthened my character. So you both have equal talent, you both have equal skill, but there's a lot of other obstacles for the single mother who's raising their child by themselves, no child care, all those kind of things. And I got to sit here and say, do I put gas in my car or do I eat today? And then I'm supposed to go give equal effort in school, right? So when I take a look at fair share, fair play, yeah, you all have equal access, but the question is your context the same? That's what social environment is. What is it in your social environment, that is your educational environment, your family environment, your friendship environment, etc., that either hoists you or pulls you down, right? What is it about social class? What is it about race? What is it about ethnicity? What is it about these different type of structural forces that shape your behavior? The way I see it is really pretty simple. We don't teach you that you're great. Remember this. If we taught you that you were great, that means you would be independent, probably a little bit more entrepreneurial, and you wouldn't take exploitation. You wouldn't accept passively getting paid less than what your value is, right? Not if you were great. If you're putting forth the effort in those dreams and passions that you have, because you all have a dream, and if you don't have a dream, go back and find it, right? Because if you find your dream and you build your passion around it, something amazing will happen. If you spend time every single day making yourself an expert on that passion area, that area of passion, one day that's going to be who you are, right? And you're going to have all the money that you need, you're going to have friends that you need and all that kind of stuff. But when we don't think of ourselves as great, we're more willing to be subject to exploitation of lesser value. And I believe that you're all worth a lot more. You're worth a lot more. So first of all, believe in that. Believe in great, right? So I am great. Put it on your list. I am a blank. Now, when we start on that chart, that is your chart. That's the most important chart that you're going to get in any class that you ever take from me. So print it off, whatever you have to do. Copy it down in your own handwriting. So the institutions, again, shape the opportunity structures. Opportunity structures shape the networks that you're in. The networks are defined by the small groups you associate with. And then you are a role relationship. That is, you exist when you're in connection with another person, right? That's when you exist. You don't exist until that point in time because there's no, now here's the word for you, symbolic interactionism. Symbolic interactionism basically is this idea that we interact through symbols and we construct the world around us so that we can smoothly interact in a given day. So we can come up with a system of common meaning. And in having common meaning, then we can have equilibrium in our everyday life and we can function, right? And I won't get into the whole idea of identity and self and the differences between all that, not today. But for now, who you are and what you are is always shaped by your next relationship with somebody else. You're always in a constant negotiation of trying to find out who you are. So, take a look at who you are and build that team, baby. Because there's something amazing here. Oh, God. Whew. Let me write this word down for you. I need a whiteboard or something like that. You're going to like this one. Get ready to write this down. Here's another word. Oh, my goodness. These are some of my favorites right here. Ethnomethodology. Woo-wee! All right. Here's two words. Okay. Phenomenology. And while you're at home, I usually do this live. I have you say it out loud because it feels so fun. Say phenomenology, and to yourself, it feels ridiculous to say it to yourself, doesn't it? And ethnomethodology. Phenomenology and ethnomethodology. If you recall that diagram, right, it was just boxes going straight down, okay? Well, we are also historical beings. And who we are and what we are, how we feel, how we see the world is also shaped upon our personal history, our phenomenon. All the phenomenon that have ever happened to us, whether we remember them or we don't, all the phenomenon that ever happened to us shape who we are. Right? So, phenomenology, if you were to extend a line on that diagram that I put in, who am I, in that video, if you extended a line going from left to right and you put the word phenomenology down there, that would mean you are the outcome of all the interactions you've ever had. You can't remember them all, but what you've developed is what is called a stream of consciousness, right? A stream of knowledge. We can't always remember why we think this. We can't always remember where the hate came from because we're not born to hate, man. That's ridiculous. We do, but we weren't born to hate. We learned it. We learned it through all those phenomena. All right? So who we are and what we are today is an outcome of all those phenomena. Right? Our stream of consciousness, our stream of thinking, our stream of knowledge is based upon all that. There's a brother word, or sister word, ethnomethodology. And with ethnomethodology, what that means is that we see the world, right, through categories. We construct categories as if somehow they're real. I'm a white male. So what? Are you serious? What does that really have to do with anything? It doesn't matter. But we've attributed it to it. You know, race. We attribute race, right? The meaning behind, you know, homophobia. That meaning, you're not born hating people who are same-sex, bisexual, or heterosexual, whatever. You learn that. But what happens is once we construct the categories, that's when things get dangerous, right? Because we've constructed a category, one of the categories, illegal immigrants are a category of people who are a threat to us. My friend Ramiro Martinez, who used to work at the University of Miami, we went to Ohio State together. He does a lot of studies on illegal immigration and whether or not the rates of crime are higher for illegal immigrants than people who were born in the United States. The rate, not the frequency. Right? A rate is the number of people within a population times 100,000. All right, we'll get to that later. So if I want to know what the rate of homicide is, I take the number of murders divided by the population size, I multiply it by 100,000. I only compare rates, by the way. I never compare raw numbers because we don't know. Is 10 murders a lot? I don't know. If you live in a society with 100 people, it's huge. But if you live in a society where there's 350 million people, it's not very big at all. So the frequency means nothing. You have to have a rate. All right. So we take a look at the rate of homicide among immigrants, and we find that it's lower than people who are born in the United States. It's not what you see in the media, though, is it? Right? What's the other thing? They're taking our jobs. Are you serious? Who's taking your job? An illegal immigrant? What jobs do the illegal immigrants get? Jobs that you don't want, right? A lot of times they work in farming areas, they work in, you know, the hotels or what have you. The people competing for your jobs aren't people. It's robotics, it's artificial intelligence, it's computers. The labor force is changing because of those things, not outsourcing. Outsourcing is a part of the issue for sure, right? But there's more people being insourced than outsourced, but they don't talk about that, do they? Because what we do is we bring in, we insource the most highly qualified persons from China, from India, from other countries, so that they can occupy professional positions. So we recruit the most educated persons, and then what happens is our stereotype says, well, those persons are really smart. Well, of course they are. They were recruited in, right? Because in India, in China, there's a broad variation in everything. There's a bell-shaped curve in all those countries. But if you're recruiting the best of the best, then guess what's going to happen? You're going to see the best of the best, right? So, and then if you're taking a look at the other ones, if you look at and produce the news on the worst of illegal immigrants, then guess what happens? That becomes your image, becomes a common sense perspective. And you don't even know, because we haven't been taught to ask the question whether or not it's real, whether or not the facts that are being presented to us are facts at all. We don't know, and we won't look it up, right? So here's what we have. Dang, I'm going off, baby. Top down in that diagram is a structural perspective. If we look at how you and I construct the world between us, that's an interactionist perspective. Hold on a second. My partner has called me. I can't. From my investment partner, my life insurance investment partner, that we run a little side business and we do really well on the side. Okay, so I'm back. I'm thinking about business now. Hoping we came across some business today while I was sitting here talking to you. All right. So we have these common sense perspectives, also known as stereotypes. When we start to give images to the boundaries, right, that's when they start to take on a life of their own. And then when those groups who are exploited believe that the exploitation is real, right, that's the point in which they become a controlling image. You know, I was raised with Mama Green, and I know you've seen her, but I like to say hello to her every once in a while. Hey, Ma, how you doing? That's my baby right there. Okay. So Mama Green, her old adage was never hate, never judge, unless you've walked in the shoes of another. Okay. Oh. I forgot what I was saying. A phone call got me. So what she was saying was, when I was 5 years old, I wanted to be like the kids in my school. I wanted to hate, right? And so I went around the table, and this is in the video in the Black History Month. And I pointed at Daddy Green, who sat here, and then Mama Green, who sat over here, and then Guy, Mama Green's son, who I consider my brother. So I get up, tap, duck, duck, goose. Black, pink, black, hit my chest, white. Boom, sit down, start eating my pancakes. Delicious pancakes. Homemade from scratch, never from a box. Mama Green says, "What'd you say, baby?" I said, I'll show you again, Mom. I'm 5 years old. I don't know what I'm talking about. Black, pink, black, white. I'm proud. And she goes, "Baby, let me ask you a quick question." I said, "Yeah, Mom." She goes, "Do you love Daddy Green?" I said, "Yes." "Do you love me?" "Yes." "Do you love Guy?" "Yes." "All right. Do we love you?" I said, "Well, yeah." She said, "Then what does our skin color have to do with anything if there's love in this house?" Right? And then she went on to teach me that if we respect human beings as being human, right? If we understand that we're more similar than we are different, which is called the sociological imagination. Sociological imagination means that our personal problems are actually social ills. Like when our psychology is the same, our emotions are the same as others, it's because we're responding to structural conditions in similar types of ways, right? She says, so the color of our skin really doesn't matter. What really matters is how well are you treated by other persons? And are they showing you love? Are they respecting you? If they are, then that's a person to hold on to. Skin color doesn't matter to me. I said, "Ooh, wow, okay, Mom." I said, "Well, I hate people with glasses." She said, "Oh, Sean, come on." She said, "Daddy wears glasses, right?" I said, "Yeah." "I wear glasses, yeah." I said, "Dang, I can't hate anything." So on that day, whatever day that was back in 1971, thank you very much, hate disappeared from my vocabulary. Now, at that moment, my mother didn't want to have me. She was going to have either an abortion or she was going to have an adoption. She wasn't prepared, and we'll talk about it later, but she was ruthlessly abused as a little girl, right? It's all in the book. And she couldn't care. She wanted to love me, but she wasn't prepared. So Mama Green came up from the basement. She had put some coal on the fire because we had a coal burning furnace, baby. We didn't have no gas. Are you serious? We didn't even have a shower. We're in a bathtub all the time. So she tells my mother, she says, "Susie, this woman who structurally we probably never should have known each other, this woman raises me as her own." Right? So in that moment, my life goes in another direction. And think about this. At this point in my career, I've had roughly 18 to 20,000 students. I've taught nearly 500 classes. Right? I've taught 20,000 students how to write. That's a lot of students to teach how to write. There's a lot of people that hear sociology come from me. And some of them, the ones who were suicidal, who contacted me and asked for help, guess what? Could have saved their life. So, phenomenologically, I meet this woman. Ethnomethodologically, she doesn't see me as a racial category. She sees me as a little baby who needs a life. And she pours into my life everything she has. And from that moment on, the trajectory of my life, my future, went in a completely different way. Right? When I was about 6, 7 years old, 8, I said, "Mom, do you think my mom would have killed me someday?" She said, "Oh, yes. If I went in your life, she would have killed you." It's not because she didn't love you. It's because she wasn't prepared to be a mother. And she is now. She's developing. She's fantastic. She's wonderful. She's funny. But she couldn't control that anger. Now she's gaining control. I said, "Okay. All right." So think about that. Each one of you, at some point, the struggles that you're having now, you're going to have the opportunity in 20, 30 years. There's going to be someone, a young person coming to you saying, I need your help. And the very experiences that you have had, the pains that you've gone through, the happiness you've experienced by overcoming obstacles, you're going to reach your hand down and you're going to lift that person up and allow them to have their own history. Because you are not just a human being, you are a person that is changing history every single day. And you can either fall subject to the categorizations and the stereotypes and use all these pieces of information that other people tell you, especially the information that you learn to look at yourself, or you're going to start to question the information that you were given. And you're going to look at yourself every morning and say that you're great. And you're going to look at yourself every morning and say, I love you, I like you, you're worthy of your dreams. And every day you're going to take some steps towards your dreams because you know what? You deserve greatness. You deserve it. And along the way, you're going to help somebody else out. So we are historical beings and we have the ability to change the direction of the world. Right? Now where's my other notes? I had notes all over the place. So, okay. Does that make sense? I'm going to post in your class some words, some terminology that I would like for you to take a look at. And I would also like for you to come back next week when we meet on Tuesday or Monday, because I'm showing this to my other classes too. I'd like for you just to list for me the first 3 crimes that come to your mind and put them down on a piece of paper. 1, 2, 3. Don't even think about it. Do it now. 1, 2, 3. All right? And list for me the first 3 crimes that come to your mind, and then we'll pick up at that point on Tuesday. But let me just say a couple things about the writing assignment. I would expect you, I just want to see where you're at for the stuff that's due on Sunday, right? They're self-explanatory in the syllabus, page long, struggle with it, do your best. That's fine. I'm not expecting perfection. By the end of week 5, man, I can't believe that. When you go to submit your final exam and your term paper in week 3. And by the way, what you want to do is you want to think of a good topic this weekend so that we can ask questions if you have questions through email or through text or what have you in terms of preparing that. Don't worry about it too much right now. Just focus on the little writing you have to do. But I am going to be watching for, you should have around 18 words in every sentence, and you should have roughly 4 or 5 sentences in every paragraph. Don't put more than 2 commas in the sentence, and stay away from semicolons. We're just not emotionally prepared to use them. People be throwing them in as apostrophes. I'm like, what is that? That's not an apostrophe. And I'm not even a grammar guy, you know what I'm saying? As a matter of fact, in high school, my freshman year, I got a C minus, D plus, C minus. Those were my grades. And I've written, I don't know, well, I published 5 books. I've written 8, and I have, I'm writing 4 more, something like that, as we speak. So, how do you go from C minus to becoming a writer, and then teaching 20,000 other people how to do it, right? Because I had to learn these little simple techniques. Now, check out how you do the brainstorming, right? One thing I'll be looking at, more for the term paper, not this weekend. What I'll be looking for are the subject headings, right? Introduction, background, theory, data. And next week, I'm going to be giving you all a theory to look up, and we're going to start moving more in that direction. There's 3 core theories if you want to look them up now. Conflict theory, there's functionalism, and there is symbolic interactionism. You want to know those theories. All right. There's going to be different theories for the different classes, but those are the 3 core sociological theories that we'll be using throughout the semester. All right. As far as the other part, what else? I want to tell you about the writing part. It is not time for you to be perfect yet. But the reason why I have you doing 18 words a sentence is because it keeps you focused. Right? And then 4 or 5 sentences, because if you can't come up with 4 sentences in a paragraph, you don't have anything to say. And if you go over 5 sentences, then you can't figure out what you want to say. So stay focused, stay aligned, right? Find good topics. You're going to have a very interesting one to submit this weekend. For the social environment class, what I want you to do is take the who am I's from today, I am a, analyze it, who am I am, analyze it, and then write a letter to yourself based upon those things, who am I 20 years from now? Right? Who am I 20 years from now? Write yourself a letter that this is what you're going to be. And then be it. Because you deserve it. And if I'm still around kicking it, 74 years old, 20 years from now, show me the letter. You'll find me. By then, you'll be some kind of like transformer in our brains. We won't even need the internet. Just sending stuff out telepathically. But in any case, if you have any questions, I know that the stream was kind of weird today. If you have any questions, send me an email or text me or what have you. If you want to call, and you are allowed to call, because sometimes it helps to clarify questions by speaking by speaking face to face through the phone. Text me first that you're going to call, and then call. All right, and then I'll be glad to talk to you. I wish you all a beautiful weekend. I wish we were in a live classroom where I could really be myself. I'm doing my best, and I hope you're enjoying the rest. Have a great weekend. Schwaneezy.